apartments, and neighborhoods. Today, you're going to learn vocabulary and phrases for renting an apartment and talking about where you live. First, listen to this conversation between Jackie and a real estate agent. That's a person who helps arrange rentals and purchases of apartments and houses. Conversation 1. Renting an apartment. Hi there. I'd like to rent a place in Brooklyn.
Okay, let's have a look at the listings. How many bedrooms?
Either a studio or a one-bedroom apartment would be fine.
And what kind of price range are you looking at?
Up to about $1,200 a month.
Let's see. I have a furnished studio apartment for $800 right near the L train. It's a steal, but it won't be available until February 1st.
Ah, that's too bad. I gotta move in as soon as possible.
There's a newly renovated one-bedroom near Prospect Park with hardwood floors and a balcony. The rent is $1,250 and it's available immediately.
Sounds nice, but I can't afford it. Ooh, this place looks nice. How much is the rent?
It's $1,000.
Does that include utilities?
It includes water and electricity, but TV or internet would be extra. Oh, and there are laundry facilities in the building.
Is there a security deposit?
Yes, $750 and also a $50 fee for the credit check.
That could work. Is it close to a subway station?
Yep, it's just a 5-minute walk from the F train.
Does it have air conditioning?
No, but the description says it has great ventilation, so it doesn't get too hot.
Okay, when can I see it?
How about tomorrow at 2?
Great. Oh, I forgot to ask. Is it okay to have a pet?
I'll have to check with the landlord, but I think small pets are allowed.
Conversation vocabulary and phrases. The first question the agent asks Jackie is how many bedrooms she would like to have in her apartment. She says she wants a studio apartment. That's an apartment with one big space that includes the bed, kitchen, living area, etc. Or a one-bedroom apartment. That's an apartment with a bedroom that is separate from the living room, kitchen, etc. Bigger apartments are described as 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, or 5-bedroom apartments. Sometimes in the listings or classified ads, this is abbreviated as 1BR, 2BR, etc. The agent then asks about Jackie's price range. That's the minimum and maximum she would like to pay for rent. She says she would like to pay up to $1,200. So when he shows her an apartment that is $1,250, she says, "I can't afford it." That means I don't have enough money. Another way to say this is, "That's outside my price range." You can also say, "I'm looking for something a little more affordable," to communicate the idea that you want a lower price. Jackie sees pictures of an apartment she likes and asks a number of questions. How much is the rent? Does that include utilities? Utilities are services like water, electricity, internet, and cable TV. Is there a security deposit? A security deposit or damage deposit is an amount of money that you pay when you move in to pay for any possible damage you might do to the apartment. If there is no damage, you will receive this money back when you move out of the apartment. Is it okay to have a pet? Or, are pets allowed? A pet is a small domestic animal, like a cat, dog, rabbit, etc. Here are some other questions to ask about an apartment you're thinking of renting. Does it have air conditioning? Does it have a balcony? Does it have hardwood floors? Does it have carpeting? Does it have laundry facilities? Does it have an elevator? Does it have appliances? Appliances are things like a refrigerator, stove, and dishwasher. Does it have a parking garage or a parking spot? Is it furnished? Furnished means it has complete furniture, including couches, tables, chairs, a bed, etc. Is it close to a subway station? Is it close to a bus stop? Is it close to a supermarket? Is it close to a laundromat? A laundromat is a place where you can pay to use a washing machine and dryer to clean your clothes. When is it available? Or when can I move in? When can I see it? Do I have to sign a lease? A lease or rental agreement is a contract that guarantees you will rent the apartment for a specific period of time. For example, 6 months, 12 months, or 2 years. When answering Jackie's final question about pets, the agent says he'll have to check with the landlord. This means the person who owns the apartment and who has decided to rent it out. If it's a woman, then she is called a landlady. The official word for a person renting an apartment, in this case Jackie, is tenant. Many landlords, before agreeing to let someone rent their apartment, will perform a credit check on the potential tenant. This means they check the person's financial records to see if they have paid on time in the past. It's also possible for the landlord to request references, contact information for people who know the tenant and can describe the person. Okay, let's imagine that Jackie decided to rent the last apartment mentioned in the conversation. Now she calls her friend Pamela to talk about it. Conversation number 2. Talking about where you live. Hey Pamela, it's Jackie.
Jackie, hi! How's the apartment hunting going?
Actually, I just signed the lease on an apartment in Flatbush.
Flatbush? Isn't that a sketchy neighborhood?
Well, it's a working class area. Some of the buildings are a little run down, but it's actually quite safe.
Oh, that's good to hear. So, tell me about your new place.
I love it. The building is clean and quiet. The appliances in the kitchen are all brand new, and there are huge windows that let in a lot of natural light. The bathroom is a little cramped, but it doesn't bother me too much.
Is it in one of those high-rise apartment complexes?
No, it's in a 3-story walk-up. I'll definitely get my exercise going up and down 3 flights of stairs every day.
Hey, it saves you money on a gym membership. What's your commute like?
It's great, just 20 minutes.
Lucky you. Do you have a roommate?
Nope, I like having the place to myself. So tell me, how's life in the suburbs treating you?
It's pretty nice. We're renting a very spacious house for a fraction of what we used to pay in New York. It has a large backyard, which is great for the kids to play in. You're welcome to visit any time you need a break from the city.
Thanks. I'll definitely take you up on that sometime. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. Pamela asks Jackie if Flatbush is a sketchy neighborhood. Sketchy is a slang word meaning not well maintained and not safe. Jackie responds that it's a working class area, meaning that the people who live in the area work for typically low salaries. Here are some other ways to describe the area where you live. I live in a residential area. I live in a business district. I live in an upscale area. The word upscale means rich, chic, or fancy. I live downtown, or I live in the city center. I live on the outskirts of the city. The outskirts of the city means the outer edge of the city. I live in a suburban area, or I live in the suburbs. The words suburban and suburbs describe a residential area outside a major city. I live in a rural area, or I live in the countryside. This describes an area where there is a low population density and the houses are typically far apart. Jackie names several positive aspects of her new apartment. She says, "The building is clean and quiet. The appliances in the kitchen are all brand new. Brand new means very new. They have never been used. There are huge windows that let in a lot of natural light. Natural light refers to sunlight or daylight. Here are some more positive aspects of houses or apartments. You can say, it's very spacious. That means it's big, there's a lot of space. It's in a great location. It was recently renovated. The one downside of Jackie's apartment is that the bathroom is a little cramped. That means small and uncomfortable. Here are more phrases for problems with your living area. The apartment is dark and dingy. Dingy means dirty and discolored. There's very little ventilation. My neighbors are noisy and inconsiderate. Noisy is the opposite of quiet, and if someone is inconsiderate, it means they don't think about the effects of their actions on other people. The landlord takes forever to make repairs. Takes forever means delays an extremely long time, and make repairs means to fix things that are broken. It's infested with cockroaches or rats. The building is run down. Run down means it's not well maintained or cared for. How would you describe the place and area where you live? Click on the link in the lesson text to leave me a message describing your home and neighborhood, and I'll send you tips and corrections. TV and movies. Conversation number 1, talking about TV. Emily and Dave are a husband and wife who are relaxing in front of the TV on a Saturday night. Listen to them decide on which TV show to watch. Are you watching this, or can I change the channel?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Where's the remote?
On the table. Is there anything good on tonight?
The Big Bang Theory. I love this show. It's hilarious.
Really? I'm not a huge fan. The dialogue is so contrived.
Shh, it's starting. Oh, no, it's a rerun. I've already seen this episode.
Let's see what else is on. What do you feel like watching?
Something entertaining. No talk shows or documentaries.
The Bachelorette?
Ugh, you know I can't stand that show.
The Price is Right?
Nah, I'm not in the mood for a game show. Why don't you stop channel surfing and just check the TV guide?
Hey, the season finale of Lost is on Channel 5.
Yeah, okay, let's watch that. Conversation phrases and vocabulary. A few different types of TV shows are mentioned in the dialogue. Here's a list of the general categories of TV programs. What kind of TV shows do you like to watch? I like to watch the news. That's reports about current events. Talk shows. Those are programs that discuss events and topics in more detail. Documentaries. Those are educational programs about history, travel, nature, or culture. Game shows. Those are programs where people compete to win prizes. Sitcoms. Sitcom is short for situation comedy, typically a half-hour show that shows the life of a family or group of people. Cartoons. Those are animated programs, often for kids. Soap operas. Soap operas are fictional programs about the daily lives and relationships of the same group of people. Crime series. Those are shows in which police and detectives try to solve crimes. Reality shows. Those are programs that film everyday people in real situations. You can say, I'm addicted to, or hooked on, and then the name of a TV show. This is an informal way to say you really like a show and you can't stop watching it. Emily asks Dave if she can change the channel. We can refer to different TV channels by the name of the network. For example, CNN, ESPN, or the Discovery Channel, or by the number, Channel 4, Channel 5, etc. We use a device called a remote control, or simply remote for short, to change the channel. Towards the end of the conversation, Emily tells Dave to stop channel surfing. If a person is channel surfing, it means he is changing the channels very fast, without stopping to watch anything. Informally, TV programs are often called shows. as when Emily said, "I love this show." TV shows can be organized into a series with various seasons, each one composed of various episodes. Each episode is one 30-minute or 60-minute program. The last episode of a season is called the season finale, and the last episode of the series is called the series finale. After the series finale, the series ends, and no more new episodes are produced. The diagram in the lesson text will help show the difference between an episode, season, and series. In the dialogue, Emily is disappointed because the episode of The Big Bang Theory on TV is a rerun. This means it is not a new episode. It is an old episode that is appearing on TV again. Here are some additional phrases for talking about TV watching. Can I change the channel? Where's the remote? What's on? Or, is there anything on? These are typical ways to ask what programs are appearing on TV at the moment. Could you turn up the volume? Turn up means to increase, and turn down means to decrease. He spends hours glued to the TV. He's a couch potato. These expressions describe someone who watches a lot of TV and is lazy. I never miss an episode of my favorite show. This commercial is really funny. The advertisements on TV are called commercials. Conversation number 2, talking about movies. Bill and Wanda are two friends who are chatting about movies. Listen to their conversation to learn some new vocabulary and phrases.
Have you seen the trailer for the final part of the Space Wars trilogy?
No, but I've read the reviews. They say the premise is intriguing, but the plot is hard to follow.
Oh, really? That's too bad. When I saw part 2, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and the special effects were stunning. My son loved it too.
You took your son to that movie? What's it rated?
Well, it's PG-13, mostly because of the violence, I think. There wasn't too much profanity.
If you say so. I think I'll skip Space Wars 3, though. I prefer chick flicks. And comedies, as long as they don't go overboard on the potty humor.
You know, there's a sequel to The Notebook coming out this fall.
A sequel? I heard it was a remake. I'm not sure who's starring in it, but they'll have a hard time topping the original cast.
Oh, you might be right. What's your favorite movie, by the way?
Life is Beautiful. It's sort of a mix of comedy and drama, about a family that lives through the Holocaust. It's very touching. I always cry at the end.
I haven't seen that. Actually, I've never heard of it.
It's an Italian film, and you should definitely watch it with subtitles. Don't bother with the dubbed version. It loses all the expression of the original language.
I'll keep that in mind.
Conversation vocabulary and phrases. We have a number of movie-related vocabulary words in this conversation. Bill starts by asking Wanda if she's seen the trailer for a new movie. A trailer is a short 2 to 3 minute video summary of a movie, showing a few scenes that will interest people in seeing the entire movie. He mentions a trilogy. That's a series of 3 movies, like Lord of the Rings. Later in the conversation, 2 more words for movies are used, a sequel and a remake. A sequel is a second movie that continues the story from the first movie. For example, American Pie and American Pie 2. And a remake is a new version of an old movie. It tells the same story, but with new actors and in a new way. Wanda asks what the movie is rated. The rating of the movie tells you if it is appropriate for various age groups. This is the list of movie ratings in the U.S. G means general audience, and it's a movie that's okay for everyone, including children. PG means that some material in the movie might not be okay for children. PG-13 means that parents are strongly cautioned. There's inappropriate material for children under 13 years old. R means restricted. children under 17 can only enter an R-rated movie if accompanied by a parent or guardian. And NC-17 means adults only, usually because of extreme violence or graphic sexual scenes. Wanda also mentions movie reviews. Reviews are evaluations of the movie written by critics. A movie critic is a person who professionally evaluates movies. A movie has only one official rating, but it has various reviews because different critics and different people probably have different opinions of the movie. The general group of actors and actresses in a movie is called the cast. Sometimes we use the verb star or starring to describe the main actors who are featured in the movie. For example, Titanic, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, was one of the most popular movies of the decade. Forrest Gump stars Tom Hanks as a mentally challenged man who lives through many historic moments. Finally, Wanda recommends an Italian film, and she tells Bill to watch it with subtitles. That's when the translated words appear as text on the screen. On the other hand, if a film is dubbed, that means the dialogue has been recorded by voice actors in a different language, and the original audio is then replaced by the new audio. Now practice these positive, neutral, and negative comments for talking about movies. Positive comments. It was hilarious. Hilarious means very funny. It was pure adrenaline, or I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. These phrases describe movies that are very exciting. It was very touching or moving. Touching and moving mean that the movie had a strong emotional effect. The special effects were stunning. Stunning means amazing, very surprising in a good way. There are some incredible stunts. Stunts are acrobatic movements and dangerous tricks performed by people in the film. I loved the soundtrack. The music used in a movie is called the soundtrack. The opening scene was very powerful. The different situations in a movie are called scenes. There was an interesting twist at the end. A twist is a surprising or unexpected change of events. It was nominated for an award. It won a couple awards. The critics gave it 4.5 stars. Sometimes movies are evaluated on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, 5 stars being the best. It was a real hit, or blockbuster. These phrases describe a movie that's popular and successful. Neutral comments. What's it rated? It's directed by, or it's produced by, and then the name of the director or producer. It stars, and then the name of an actor or actress. He plays, and then the name or description of a character. It's based on a true story. It's set in, or the story takes place in, a location. Use these phrases to describe the location of the story in the film. It was filmed in, or it was shot in, a location. Use this phrase to describe the real location where the movie was filmed. It has subtitles. It's dubbed. It's a sequel. It's a remake. Negative comments. There's a lot of profanity. It's not appropriate for kids. Profanity refers to swearing or cursing, using bad words. There's graphic sex or violence. Graphic means the sex and violence is shown clearly and explicitly. There was too much blood and gore. Blood and gore refers specifically to violence. The plot was hard to follow. This means the progress of the story was hard to understand. There was lots of potty humor. Potty humor is humor involving sex, bodily functions, or disgusting things. It wasn't very believable. This means the film was not realistic. It was hard to believe. The characters were shallow or one-dimensional. This means the characters in the movie were not complex or interesting. It was a flop, or it bombed. These phrases describe a movie that was not successful. Relationships. Conversation number 1. Meeting, dating, and getting married. Listen to Laura and Sharon's conversation about how Laura met and fell in love with her husband, Joe. Joe and I are celebrating our 10th anniversary this month.
Congratulations! I'm curious, how'd you two meet?
It was in college. I was actually going out with someone else at the time.
Oh, really? Who?
This guy named Mike. He was captain of the basketball team and all the girls had a crush on him, so I was thrilled when he asked me out. We started dating, but we really didn't have much in common.
So that's when Joe showed up and swept you off your feet.
No, actually it wasn't love at first sight. We became friends, and sometimes it seemed like he was flirting with me, but I wasn't really attracted to him. I thought he wasn't my type, but over time I realized I was falling in love with him.
Well, you two are a match made in heaven. How'd he pop the question?
Believe it or not, he never officially proposed. When things started getting serious, we moved in together, and a couple years later we decided to get married and make it official.
Are you doing anything special for your anniversary?
Yeah, so our wedding was really low-key, and we never had a honeymoon, so he surprised me by planning a 2-week romantic getaway in Costa Rica.
That's so sweet. I hope you have a wonderful time.
Conversation vocabulary and phrases. In this dialogue, we have phrases for beginning a relationship, being in a relationship, and getting engaged and married. When Laura first met Joe, she wasn't instantly attracted to him. Here are some phrases for describing a lack of attraction to someone. We're just friends. He's or she's not my type. This means that the other person's appearance or personality is not similar to the type of person you usually date. We don't have much in common. I'm not really attracted to him or her. I don't know what you see in him or her. This is a comment you can make to a friend if your friend is dating a person who you think is not interesting or attractive at all. But be careful, your friend might take offense. Sometimes two people meet and form an instant romantic connection. Here are some expressions for that. We really hit it off. Hit it off means you get along well from the first moment you meet. It can be used for both romantic and non-romantic social connections. We had great chemistry. We just clicked. It was love at first sight. When Mike started his relationship with Laura, he asked her out. That means he invited her to go on a date. For example, dinner, a movie, dancing, etc. Practice these phrases for the beginning of a relationship. I have a crush on him or her. This means you are very attracted to someone, but you are not yet dating. The other person may or may not know about your feelings. He or she was flirting with me. Flirting means demonstrating romantic interest through comments, gestures, etc. He or she asked me out. She was playing hard to get. This means a person is pretending not to be interested in dating, but secretly she is interested. She just wants the guy to be persistent. We fell in love. We hooked up. Hooked up means having a sexual experience together. There are a few different ways in English to say that two people are currently in a romantic relationship. Here are the most common phrases. They're dating. They're an item. That phrase is informal. He's going out with, or he's seeing. It's getting serious. My boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, significant other, or better half. These words are all used to refer to your partner in the romantic relationship. The word partner is often used for gay or lesbian couples. Significant other and better half can be used for men or women. My better half is an affectionate way to refer to your romantic companion. When two people have been dating for a long time, they might want to take the next step and make their relationship official. Here are some phrases for that. We moved in together. This describes when two people begin to live together in the same apartment or house. He proposed, or he popped the question. Both of these phrases mean he asked her to marry him. The second phrase is much more informal. We're engaged. This means that two people are definitely planning to get married. In this situation, the man is called the fiancé, and the woman the fiancée. They're pronounced the same, but spelled differently. We're getting married next month. Some informal expressions for getting married are getting hitched, tying the knot, and saying I do. At a wedding, the woman is called the bride, and the man is called the groom. They're newlyweds. This phrase describes a couple who recently got married. It was a match made in heaven, or they're perfect for each other. Both of these phrases describe two people who are great together. We've been married for 10 years. Conversation number 2. Ending a relationship and looking for love again. Gary and Jill are acquaintances who haven't seen each other in several years. One day, they run into each other in a cafe. Let's listen in on their conversation.
Hey, Jill, long time no see.
Gary, hi, how have you been?
Pretty good. I'm still working at the Boston Bank, but now I'm a manager.
That's great. How's Rachel doing?
Actually, we're no longer together.
Ah, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I mean, it was mutual, you know. We were always fighting, and we both needed some space, so we decided to take a break.
Yeah, it happens.
How about you? I heard through the grapevine that you were seeing some rich Italian businessman.
Oh no, that was just a fling, nothing serious. I've been single pretty much ever since I dumped Peter.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened between you guys? I always thought you made the perfect couple.
We had great chemistry, but he was really jealous. Every time I smiled at another guy, he thought I was cheating on him.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, I was glad to be out of that relationship. Now I'm looking for someone who really shares my values and has a sense of humor. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. Jill discovers that Gary has separated from his ex-girlfriend, Rachel. Gary says, "We're no longer together," which is a polite and diplomatic way to talk about a separation without saying anything bad about the other person. Here are some additional phrases for ending a relationship. We're no longer together. We broke up. We split up. The breakup was mutual. This means that both people agreed to separate. He or she dumped me. This means that one person decided to end the relationship, but the other person didn't want to. Their marriage is on the rocks, or their marriage is in trouble. Use these phrases to say when a marriage is having difficulties and may end soon. They got back together. Use this phrase when two people ended their relationship but then restarted it. Why do relationships end? There are a number of common reasons. Gary mentions 2 of them. We were always fighting, and we needed some space, meaning we needed to be apart in order to preserve our emotional health. Here are some other common reasons for breakups. We fell out of love. This is the opposite of falling in love. It describes when two people naturally lose their romantic feelings for each other over time. He or she cheated on me. This phrase describes when one person in the relationship has sex with someone else. He or she had an affair. An affair is when a married person has a prolonged sexual relationship with another person who is not their husband or wife. We were always fighting. He was too jealous. She was too needy or clingy. I needed some space. It was a long-distance relationship, and it just didn't work out. You can use the phrase, "it just didn't work out," to provide a general reason for the end of the relationship without explaining any details. Gary asks Jill about her relationship with a rich Italian businessman, but Jill says it was just a fling, which means a temporary relationship that is not very serious. Here are some more phrases for non-serious relationships. It was just a fling. It was just a one-night stand. This means you had sex with the person for one night only. A fling can be longer, for example, a few days, weeks, or months. They're friends with benefits. This describes two people who are friends and who have sex because they enjoy it, but who do not consider themselves to be in a real romantic relationship. At the end of the conversation, Jill talks about what she's looking for in a man. You can say, "I'm looking for someone with a great sense of humor, with a sense of adventure, from a similar background, who shares my values, who's financially stable, who's open-minded, easygoing, intelligent, patient, caring, etc." Today's speaking challenge is to tell me about a previous romantic relationship. How did you meet? When did you fall in love? What happened with the relationship? Did you stay together or did you break up? Hobbies. Today we're going to talk about hobbies. The word hobby refers to an activity or interest that you do for pleasure or relaxation. Conversation number 1. Talking about hobbies. Ron and Eileen are getting to know each other on a first date. Listen to each of them ask and answer questions about their hobbies.
So, what do you like to do in your free time? Do you have any hobbies?
I'm really into rock climbing. I go up to the mountains every chance I can get.
Rock climbing? Wow! How long have you been doing that?
About 5 years. My college roommate introduced me to it. Unfortunately, I've been super busy these days, and I haven't been able to do much climbing, so I go jogging to stay in shape. How about you? Do you play any sports?
No, I'm not very athletic. I work out at the gym. Once in a while, I spend a lot of time reading, and I'm interested in photography. But actually, my newest passion is gardening.
Really? How'd you get into gardening?
I read an article that piqued my interest about how homegrown vegetables are much healthier than what you buy in the supermarket, so I decided to give it a try.
No kidding. Well, I don't have a garden, but I have been getting into cooking and baking lately. I'm not very good at it, but it is fun to experiment. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. Ron starts by asking Eileen about her hobbies. Here are a few ways to ask this question. What are your hobbies? Or, do you have any hobbies? What do you do in your spare time or free time? What do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do outside of work or school? To answer the question, you can say, I like reading, to read, or literature. I love painting, to paint, or art. I enjoy surfing. I'm really into photography, chess, or gardening. I'm interested in astronomy, cooking, or computers. Be careful not to say, I'm interesting in. The correct phrase is, I'm interested in. I spend a lot of time fishing. My newest passion is blogging, woodworking, or bird watching. After the words like and love, you can use the to form or the ing form of the verb, or you can use a noun. But after enjoy and in the other phrases, you can only use a noun or a verb in the ing form. For a hobby that you've started recently, you can say, I've been getting into cooking and baking lately. I've taken up sailing. There are hundreds and hundreds of hobbies, and you can read an extensive list by clicking the link in the lesson text. But here are a few of the most common. Common indoor hobbies are blogging and writing, baking and cooking. Baking is making bread, cake, muffins, cupcakes, cookies, etc. And cooking involves all other types of food. Collecting cards, coins, art, antiques, stamps, rocks, or vintage books, cars, or clothing. Vintage items are those of an old or classic style. Sewing, crocheting, or knitting. Drawing, painting, photography, and scrapbooking. Scrapbooking means arranging photos in a book in an artistic way with decorations. Tinkering with electronics or computers, and playing video games. Woodworking, meaning making things with wood. Here are some common outdoor and athletic hobbies. Bird watching, camping and hiking, gardening, fishing, and hunting, jogging, rock climbing, sailing, surfing, and water sports, skateboarding. Here are some ways to talk specifically about sports and music. Do you play any sports? Yes, I play baseball, for example. I do yoga, martial arts, or Pilates. No, I prefer working out at the gym. No, I'm not very athletic. No, but I love to watch. I'm a big fan of, and then say the name of the sport or team that you enjoy watching. Do you play a musical instrument? Yes, I play the guitar, for example. I've played the piano for several years. I'm taking lessons. I'm in a band. I sing in a choir. In the dialogue, there are 2 follow-up questions that you can use to ask for more information after the other person tells you their hobbies. You can say, how do you get into that? This question means, how did you become interested in it? Here are some answers. I read an article or saw a TV show that piqued my interest. Piqued my interest means made me interested in learning more. I took a class. I just thought it'd be interesting to try it out. My friend introduced me to it, and I've been doing it ever since. Here's another question. How long have you been doing that? And here are some answers. I just started. For a few years. Use the word for plus a time period. Since I was a kid. Use the word since plus a point in the past. Ever since I was in college. Conversation number 2. Benefits of hobbies. Erica's wondering which new hobby to take up. Listen to her conversation with Natalie. Ever since I quit my job, I've had a lot of time on my hands. I really need to find a new hobby.
Well, what's something you've always wanted to try?
I'd love to learn how to dance, but I think I'm too shy.
Oh, don't let that stop you. If I had more free time, I'd definitely take dance classes.
So, what do you like to do for fun?
I've gotten into yoga. It's a great way to relieve stress and a fantastic workout. And I've always enjoyed writing, so I'm going to start a blog.
Oh, good for you. You know, I had a ton of hobbies when I was a kid. I used to collect coins, skateboard, play chess, but none of them really interest me anymore.
Hey, why don't you take up a craft like pottery, knitting, or jewelry making? It'd be fun, and you could even sell your creations to make a little money.
That's actually not a bad idea. I've always wanted to explore my artistic side. Conversation, vocabulary, and phrases. Erica starts out by saying she has a lot of time on her hands. That means she has a lot of free time with nothing to do. Here are a few more phrases for talking about present, past, and potential future hobbies. I have a lot of time on my hands. I need to find a hobby. I have a ton of different hobbies. A ton of means a very large number of. If I had more free time, I'd use this phrase for an imaginary situation. If I had more free time, I would. I'd like to try. Use this phrase to talk about something you are interested in doing but you haven't started yet. I used to, but not anymore. Use this expression to talk about something you did frequently in the past, but you don't do it now. A couple of different benefits are also mentioned in the dialogue. Here are some different answers to the question of why you enjoy your hobby. Because it's a great workout. That means it's good exercise. Because it's a great way to relieve stress. Because it helps me clear my mind. That means it helps you forget your worries and concerns. Because it helps me relax. Because I find it fascinating. Because it's fun, interesting, exciting, or other adjectives to describe your hobby. Because I can earn a little extra money on the side. You've finished Lesson 5. Today's speaking exercise is to tell me about your hobbies. Talk about some hobbies you had in the past, some hobbies you have currently, and one hobby you'd like to try. Public transportation. First, let's learn some vocabulary. The central place in the city where you go to get a bus or a train is called a station, bus station, or train station. The different points where you can get on or get off a bus or train are called stops. Another word that is often used in train stations is platform. This is the area inside the station where you wait for the train. We use the verb take to describe general use of buses and trains. For example, I took the bus from New York to Philadelphia. You need to take the 3:15 train if you want to get there by 6. We use the phrasal verbs get on and get off to describe the specific actions of entering and leaving the bus or train. You can also transfer from one bus to another bus or from one train to another train. For example, if you want to go to the museum, get off at the next stop. You need to get on the B train and then transfer to the L train. Finally, bus and train systems have lines. Lines are the regular routes that the buses or trains travel. Each color on the map below represents a line in the subway. The black dots are stops. Conversation number 1, asking for information. Excuse me, does this bus stop at Central Park?
No, this is the express bus. You need to take the M53 local. You just missed it.
Oh, no. How often does it come?
Every few minutes. You won't have to wait long.
Okay. How far is it to the park?
About 7 or 8 stops.
Thanks. Could you tell me when we get to Central Park?
Sure, no problem.
Do you mind if I sit here? No, go right ahead.
Ma'am, you can get off here for Central Park.
Conversation vocabulary and phrases. Whenever you want to talk to someone you don't know, you can begin by saying, "Excuse me." If you're not sure if a bus or train goes to your destination, you can use these phrases. Does this bus stop at? Does this bus go to? Is this the bus to? Fred informs Nancy that it's an express bus and she needs to take the local bus. An express bus or train is one that does not make all the stops. It skips, passes some stops. A local bus or train makes all the stops along the way. He also tells her that she just missed the bus. The bus departed before she arrived. In English, we always say missed the bus, train, or flight, not lost the bus, train, or flight. To ask about the time of a bus or train, you can say, how often does it come? Every hour. Every half hour. Every 10 minutes. When's the next bus, or when's the next train? At 6:45. In 20 minutes. Not until 8. Not until is used when there will be a long time to wait. And to ask about distance, you can say, how far is it to? How many stops until? How long does it take to get to? The person might respond in number of stops, as in the conversation, or in number of minutes, like about 15 minutes. Nancy wasn't sure when to get off the bus, so she used this phrase to ask the driver to tell her. Could you tell me when we get to Central Park? You can ask this to the driver or to another passenger on the bus. When it's time, the other person will say, you can get off here, or this is your stop. Unfortunately, if there is a problem, then the other person might say, you missed your stop. We already passed it. You're on the wrong bus. This bus doesn't go to Central Park. Finally, if you want to sit down, but you're not sure if there is a person occupying the seat or if a person has put their bag on the seat, you can say, do you mind if I sit here? Is this seat free? Is this seat taken? Conversation number 2, buying a ticket.
Hi, I'd like a ticket to Boston, please.
One way or round trip?
Round trip, leaving tomorrow morning and coming back on Saturday afternoon.
Okay, what time do you want to leave? The train to Boston runs every hour on the hour, starting at 6 a.m. The 6, 7, and 8 a.m. trains are peak hours.
Then I'll take the 9 o'clock train.
And on Saturday afternoon, there are trains leaving Boston at 2:30, 4:30, and 6:30.
Actually, maybe I'll just buy a one-way ticket now, 'cause I'm not quite sure what time I want to come back. Can I buy a ticket on the train?
Yeah, but it's going to be more expensive.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll take the 4:30 train. How much is the fare?
It's $24 each way, so that comes to $48 total.
Is there a discount for students?
Yep, I'll just need to see your student ID.
Here you go. Can I also have a copy of the schedule?
Sure. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. To ask for a train ticket, you can say, I'd like, or can I have? Then complete the sentence with a one-way ticket if you only want a ticket from New York to Boston, or a round-trip ticket if you want a ticket from New York to Boston and a return ticket from Boston back to New York. The agent says that the train runs every hour on the hour, meaning exactly at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, etc. Some buses and trains have more expensive fares for peak hours. Peak hours are times like 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 7 p.m., when many people are going to work or coming home from work. An off-peak train is usually less expensive. Brian says, how much is the fare? The word fare is a special word that refers to the price of transportation tickets. He also asks about a discount for students. You can also say, is there a discount for children? Or, is there a discount for senior citizens? A senior citizen is someone who is 65 years old or older. Conversation number 3, getting a taxi. A taxi is sometimes also called a cab. There are 3 ways to get a taxi in the United States. First, you can phone a taxi service and arrange for a taxi to pick you up at a specific time. To do this, you can say one of these phrases. I need a taxi to pick me up at 241 Main Street at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'd like a taxi as soon as possible. I'm at 1185 Brooklyn Avenue. The second way to get a taxi is to go to a place where there are many taxis already waiting, like outside the airport or train station. Finally, you can hail a taxi. That means call a taxi on the street. To do this, you stand close to the street and extend your arm when you see a taxi coming. Let's look at a conversation you might have with the taxi driver. Could you take me to the Green Tree Hotel on 7th Avenue and 32nd Street? How much will it be? Okay, and how long does it take to get there? Sounds good. Yes, these 2. Are we almost there? Great. How much do I owe you? Here's 30. Keep the change. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. To tell the taxi driver your destination, use the phrase, could you take me to? Some taxis have a flat rate, that's a fixed price for the trip, and others use a meter, that's the equipment that increases the price depending on the distance. Before you get into the taxi, it's a good idea to ask, how much will it be? And how long will it take to get there? If the ride is taking longer than you expected, you can ask, are we almost there? Or, how much longer? For paying, use these phrases. How much do I owe you? Or, how much is it? In the United States, it's common to give a taxi driver a tip. That's extra money for the service. The tip should be about 15% of the fare. You can do this by giving the driver extra money and saying, keep the change, if you want him to keep all the extra money. Or, if the fare is $12 and you give the driver $20, you can say, just give me back $5, so the driver will keep $15. Finally, if you want to get out of the taxi early, you can say, you can let me off here, or this is fine. The taxi will then pull over, go to the side of the street, and stop so that you can get out. Driving and directions. Conversation number 1. Driving. Listen to Elizabeth and Jonas talk about a road trip. Hey, Jonas, how was your road trip to Chicago?
It was a nightmare, one disaster after another.
Huh? What on earth happened?
Well, I offered to give my girlfriend's brother a ride to Philadelphia. It was a bit out of our way, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was that he's a super annoying backseat driver.
Really?
Yeah, like getting on my case for forgetting to use my turn signal before merging, or telling me that I should get out of the exit-only lane, on and on for about 4 hours.
My mom is like that. I mean, it's okay that she reminds me to buckle up, but I wish she wouldn't scream, slow down, every time I go a tiny bit over the speed limit.
Exactly. So after we dropped him off in Philly, we got stuck in a major traffic jam for over an hour before I finally managed to get off the highway and take a different road. And then there was a detour due to road work, and we got lost for another 3 hours.
Wow, that's nuts. Was it pretty smooth sailing after that?
No, it gets worse. We made a pit stop outside of Cleveland, and I was in such a rush to use the bathroom that I locked my keys in the car. After shelling out $50 for a locksmith, we were back on the road, but then the engine started overheating and I had to pull over.
Oh, no. I think I would have given up if I were you.
Yeah, but we were already over halfway there by that point, so I was determined to keep going. Just as we were getting to Chicago, another driver cut me off and I had to slam on the brakes to avoid crashing into him.
Geez, I didn't know Chicago drivers were so aggressive.
Unfortunately, the woman behind me was talking on her cell phone, and when I suddenly stopped, she rear-ended me.
No way. Was your car badly damaged?
Nah, it was just a fender bender. My insurance will cover the repairs. But the whole trip was really stressful. Next time, I'm just booking a flight.
Conversation vocabulary and phrases. In the beginning of the conversation, Jonas offers to give his girlfriend's brother a ride. That means take him in the car. If you want to offer someone a ride, you can use these phrases. Do you need a ride? Or, do you need a lift? I'll pick you up at. To pick someone up means to take the person in your car. I can drop you off at. To drop someone off is when the person leaves your car. Unfortunately, the brother is a backseat driver. That's a person in the car who is not driving, but who criticizes the driver's abilities, or who makes lots of suggestions and gives lots of tips for the driver to improve. Here are some of the comments a backseat driver might make. You don't want to be in this lane, it's exit only. Roads are divided into lanes. An exit-only lane is one where the only option is to leave the highway. You forgot to use your turn signal, or blinker, before merging. Turn signal, or blinker, refers to the yellow or orange light on the sides of a car, used to indicate the direction you plan to go. Merge means to move from one lane into another. Slow down. The speed limit is 55. The speed limit is the maximum velocity permitted on that road. Slow down means to drive slower, and speed up means to drive faster. You missed your turn. This phrase means you accidentally went past the place where you were supposed to turn right or left. Stop tailgating. It's not safe. Tailgating means to follow the car in front of you very closely. Everybody buckle up. Buckle up means to put on your seatbelt. It's getting dark. You should turn on your headlights. Headlights are the lights on the front of the car. During the conversation, a number of driving problems are mentioned. For example, I got stuck in a traffic jam. A traffic jam is when the traffic is stopped or slow. There was a detour due to roadwork. A detour is an alternate route, and roadwork means maintenance or repairs on the road. I got lost. I locked my keys in the car. The engine started overheating and I had to pull over. Overheating means getting too hot, and pull over means drive the car to the side of the road and stop. I got a flat tire. A flat tire is when the tire loses its air. The car broke down. Broke down means it had a mechanical problem and stopped functioning. Another car cut me off. This means another car drove in front of my car very suddenly. Another car rear-ended me. Rear-ended means it hit or crashed into the back of my car. Conversation number 2, asking for directions. Tiffany is going to see a baseball game at Yankee Stadium, but she gets lost on the way, so she stops to ask for directions. Excuse me, how can I get to Yankee Stadium from here?
You have to get on the highway, but you already passed the on-ramp, so turn around and go back the way you came, and just follow the signs for I-95 South. Go about 5 miles on I-95 and get off at exit 2A.
Could you show me on the map?
Sure. You're here, and the highway is here. Exit 2A is here.
Thanks a lot. Could you tell me how to get to Yankee Stadium?
Yes, go past the gas station and turn left at the first light. That's Walton Avenue. Go straight down Walton until you hit East 164th Street, and then...
Just a minute, let me write this down.
Okay, take Walton to East 164th Street and turn right. If you see the mall, you've gone too far. After you're on 164th, Then take your second left onto River Avenue. Your best bet for parking is at the corner of River and 162nd Street.
Sorry, could you repeat the part about River Avenue?
From 164th Street, you turn left onto River Avenue and just keep going until you see the parking lot. It's about 4 blocks and it'll be on your left across from a hotel. Did you get all that?
I think so. Thanks. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. To ask for directions, you can start with "Excuse me," and then use these phrases. How can I get to the Museum of Modern Art? Could you tell me how to get to Grand Street? Where is the nearest hospital? Directions are often given with these verbs. Go plus a direction. For example, go right, go left, go straight, go east, go west, go north, go south. We can also use the verb go plus a distance. For example, go 3 blocks down this street, then turn left. Go 5 miles on Route 25W, then take exit 16. Turn right, turn left, and turn around. Take the second right, or take the third left. We can also use take with the name of a road or public transportation. For example, take Route 81. Take Main Street north for about 3 miles. Take the 3 train, then transfer to the F train at Fulton Street. Take the bus towards Chinatown. And we can also say stay on plus the name of the road to continue on the same street. For example, stay on this road for about 5 miles. Stay on the highway for another 10 minutes. When giving directions, it's helpful to use landmarks. Those are obvious reference points. For example, go past the big white church. When you get to the clock tower, turn left. If you see a shopping mall, you've gone too far. Turn right at the next light. Light means traffic light in this context. Then you can describe the position of the destination by saying, the destination will be on your left or on your right. It will be across from a hotel. It will be next to the hospital, or it will be on the corner. You've finished Lesson 7. Now take the quiz to test your memory of the phrases from this lesson. Restaurants, making reservations, and understanding the menu. We're going to eat out. That means eating at a restaurant. This will be a 2-part lesson. Today you'll learn how to make reservations, what to say when you arrive at the restaurant, and how to understand the menu. Tomorrow you'll learn how to make orders, interact with the waiter or waitress, pay for the food, and talk about your experience at the restaurant. Conversation number 1, making a reservation. It's a good idea to call the restaurant and make a reservation in 3 cases. First, if you are going to a nice or expensive restaurant. Second, if you are going to a restaurant that is very popular. And third, if you are going to the restaurant with a large number of people and you want to make sure that the restaurant has enough space for everybody. Now listen to the conversation as John calls to make a reservation. Angelo's restaurant.
Hi, I'd like to make a dinner reservation for tomorrow night at 7:30.
How many in your party?
6.
Can I get your name and phone number?
My name is John Smith, and my number is 203-555-8714.
Okay, so I have a reservation for a party of 6 under the name Smith tomorrow night at 7:30. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. We'll also need 1 high chair and 1 booster seat.
Not a problem. Is there anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks.
All right, Mr. Smith. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. In general, when making a restaurant reservation, you need to give your name, phone number, and the date and time you plan to go to the restaurant. When the person at the restaurant asks, "How many in your party?" she wants to know how many people total will be coming to the restaurant. If you have any special requests, you can make them. For example, in this conversation, Mr. Smith asks for 1 high chair and 1 booster seat. A high chair is a chair for a baby, and a booster seat is a chair for a small child. While making the reservation, you can also ask for a table in a specific location. For example, can we have a table near the window? Or, can we have a table on the balcony? Conversation number 2, arriving at the restaurant. When you enter the restaurant, the person who greets you is called the hostess if she is a woman, or the host if he is a man. If you made a reservation before arriving, you can say, I have a 7:30 reservation for John Smith. If you didn't make a reservation, you might need to wait for a table if the restaurant is crowded, that is, if there are many people in the restaurant. For example, welcome to Angelo's. Do you have a reservation?
No, we don't.
It's going to be about a 10-minute wait. Can I get your name?
Johnson?
Okay, and a table for 2?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you can wait right over there, and I'll let you know when your table is ready. Conversation vocabulary and phrases. In spoken English, going to is often pronounced gonna, like when the hostess says, it's gonna be about a 10-minute wait. The expression, is a way to say yes. English has many different ways to say yes and no. Click on the links in the lesson text for some examples. Also, if the restaurant has a bar, the hostess may ask if you want to sit at the bar and have a drink while you wait. If there are tables available when you enter the restaurant, then the hostess will ask you how many people. For example, good evening, how many?
2.
Right this way, please. Right this way means come with me. You should follow the hostess to the table. After you sit down, a person will come and ask if you want any drinks. The name of this person is the waiter, if he is a man, or waitress, if she is a woman, or server, which can be a man or a woman. Listen to the conversation. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'll be your server tonight. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Here's the menu. Can I get you anything to drink?
Just water for now.
Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes to take your order. The menu is the list of foods that the restaurant offers and how much they cost. We use a specific verb for the action of asking for food in a restaurant, to order. Now let's learn some vocabulary for understanding the menu. The menu will often be divided into different sections. Appetizers or starters are small amounts of food that are eaten before the main dish. Main dishes, or entrees, are the biggest and most important parts of the meal, eaten after the appetizers and before dessert. This can also be called the main course. Specials are specific dishes that are prepared particularly for today and are often at a reduced price. Combos is short for combinations, 2 or more foods that are ordered together as a single item. For example, at McDonald's you can order a combo of a hamburger, french fries, and soda for one price. Side dishes, or sides, are small portions of food that can be ordered to accompany the main dishes. For example, you can order a steak with a side of mashed potatoes. Desserts are sweet foods eaten after the main dish, like ice cream, cakes, pies, etc. Beverages is another word for drinks. There are also cocktails, which are mixed alcoholic drinks, like margaritas, martinis, and other alcoholic drinks like tequila and rum that are mixed with fruit juices and other ingredients. Some menus also categorize the foods by types. For example, sandwiches, soups, salads, seafood, that means animals from the ocean like fish, crab, lobster, etc., pasta, meat, and poultry. Poultry means chicken. Now let's learn various ways that food can be prepared. Food can be grilled or barbecued. That means cooked on a grill. It can be roasted or baked. That means cooked inside an oven. Food can be boiled. that means cooked in water. Or fried, that means cooked in oil. Sautéed means the food is cooked in a very small amount of oil. Broiled means the food is cooked at high heat for a short time. Marinated means the food is soaked in liquid to give it more flavor. Breaded means the food is covered with breadcrumbs and cooked. Steamed means the food is cooked with water vapor. Steamed vegetables, for example, are not cooked in the water. They are cooked above the water, using only the vapor. Sometimes the food is also described by its appearance. A thin cut of meat or fish is called a fillet. The T in fillet is silent. Vegetables can be chopped, that means cut into squares, or sliced, cut into thin pieces. Cheese can be grated, that means scraped into small pieces. Also, food can be covered with or topped with a liquid, which is called sauce or dressing. With meat and pasta, we usually use the word sauce, and with salads, we use the word dressing. For some more advanced restaurant menu vocabulary, click on the 2 example menus that are linked in the lesson text. Now let's learn how to ask questions about the menu. Here are some typical questions you can ask the server in order to find out more information about the dishes on the menu. Is that a big portion? The word portion refers to the quantity of food. Is it spicy? Ask this to find out if the food has hot peppers. Does it have any peanuts in it? I'm allergic. If you are allergic to a food, it means your body has a bad reaction to it. Do you have any diet or light dishes? Some restaurants have a light section of the menu with foods that are healthy and low fat, but you can also ask the server which dishes are good for a person on a diet. Do you have any vegetarian dishes? Ask the server this question if you don't eat meat. Does that come with any sides? Sometimes the entrees come with side dishes like potatoes, vegetables, salads, or soups, which are included in the price of the main dish. Can I substitute a salad for the soup? Or, can I have a salad instead of the soup? Ask one of these questions to find out if it's possible to exchange one item for another. Do you have a kids menu? Many servers will give you a kids menu automatically if they see you have children, but you can also request it. What are today's specials? Many restaurants have dishes that are prepared especially for that day, and some have a reduced price. What do you recommend? If you really don't know what to order, you can ask the server for a suggestion. Often, he or she will recommend a popular dish that the restaurant is especially known for.